Less than 6 hours from now, you will start seeing the exit poll predictions at the bottom of your screens. And just over 5 hours from now, the elections in this country for 2024 will have concluded. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost over. It's almost done, okay? The results will be out in 3 days. If it's going one way or the other, we'll know by 12 o'clock. And then we get into the rough and tumble of continuing the governance of this country. But the biggest electoral exercise in the history of humankind is about to culminate. History is being made as we speak. Joining us this morning to get a pulse of what is happening in Mandi, my colleague Kanika is standing by. A fascinating battle is taking place because the incumbent Vikramaditya, who hails from Himachal Pradesh, who of course is the son of the former Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh of the Congress party, is taking on the BJP's Kangana Ranaut, who also hails from Himachal, but has been brought in as a politician for the first time. And of course, Akshat is standing by in Varanasi. We'll get a perspective in from what's happening on the ground, and then we'll open this up to our guests to analyze this further. Kanika, first over to you. What are people saying? ओके
लड़ रही हैं। उनके सामने विक्रमादित्य कांग्रेस पार्टी के प्रत्याशी हैं। और अगर दिखाऊं मैं आपको तो पोलिंग जो प्रक्रिया है वो लगातार चल रही है। पोलिंग बूथ पे तमाम जो वोटर्स हैं वो इस वक्त मौजूद हैं। कहा जा रहा है सुबह से एक अलग एक्साइटमेंट जो है वोटर्स की देखने को मिल रही है, बिकॉज हम सुबह 6 बजे से पोलिंग बूथ पे मौजूद है और जिस तरह से यहाँ के लोग एक्साइटेड होकर वोटर्स जो वोट कर रहे हैं वो अपने आप में बड़ी तस्वीर है। तमाम महिलाएं हैं, ऋषभ, इनसे बातचीत करेंगे। आप लोग वोट करने आए हैं, क्या सोचकर वोट कर रहे हैं, क्या मुद्दे हैं इस बार? मैम आप बताइए क्या मुद्दे हैं। मैम आप वोट करने आई हैं, क्या सोचकर वोट कर रही हैं? अच्छा, कुछ और भी लोग हैं यहाँ पे, इनसे बातचीत कर लेते हैं, बिकॉज यहाँ पे देखिए अब क्यू बनी हुई है, पूरी लोग इंतजार कर रहे हैं अपने आने नंबर का। सर आप लोग वोट कर रहे हैं, क्या नाम है आपका और क्या सोचकर इस बार मतदान कर रहे हैं आप लोग?
मेरा नाम जयमल सिंह है जी, और कंगना रनावत यहाँ की हमारी बेटी है, इसीलिए हम वोटिंग करने आए हैं।
ठीक है सर, प्रत्याशी का नाम तो मत लीजिए, लेकिन इश्यूज क्या है यहाँ पर मंडी लोकसभा कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में? ऐसे कौन से कोर इश्यूज हैं जिनको सोचकर आप लोग वोट कर रहे हैं?
ये तो नहीं बता सकता।
कोई इशू नहीं है?
नहीं जी,
सिर्फ कंगना को वोट करना है।
Yeah, love to have as many voices, Kanika, as
सर
possible.
आप बताइए क्या इश्यूज है इस बार?
कोई इश्यूज नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, बस वोटिंग करनी है। बस
वोटिंग करनी है। आज लास्ट फेज है वोटिंग का। जो लोग आपको टीवी पे देख रहे हैं, क्या कहना चाहेंगे उन तमाम वोटर्स को पूरे देश में?
सब वोटिंग करें, बस यही है।
क्या इश्यूज हैं इस बार यहाँ पे?
इश्यूज कोई नहीं, हमारी यहाँ पे बेटी है, उसके उपरांत मतलब उसके उपलक्ष्य में हम वोटिंग पे आए हुए हैं।
ओके, इसके अलावा डेवलपमेंट हुआ है 5 सालों में मंडी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में?
ये तो सभी जानते हैं, इसमें तो हम अपनी राय क्या दे सकते हैं कि मेरी राय से क्या बनेगा इसमें।
नहीं, आपकी राय बहुत जरूरी है हम सबके लिए।
जी जी, सब ठीक है जी,
सब ठीक है। तमाम जो ऋषभ वोटर्स हैं वो इस वक्त यहाँ पे मौजूद हैं। आप बताइए क्या इश्यूज है, क्योंकि आप यंग हैं, युवा वोटर हैं, क्या इस बार सोचकर मतदान कर रहे हैं? नहीं बोलना चाहते? कोई इशू नहीं है इस बार, मतलब डेवलपमेंट, एम्प्लॉयमेंट?
बोलने को तो बहुत ज्यादा है, लेकिन
बोलिए, बिल्कुल बोलिए, आपका हक है ये बोलना। कोई इशू नहीं है, सब यहाँ पे बढ़िया है।
बढ़िया ही है।
ठीक है सर, आप बताइए क्या नाम है आपका?
मैं मनीष कुमार।
ओके मनीष, आप बहुत यंग हैं और यंग वोटर के तौर पे हैं, क्या इश्यूज है इस बार आपके वोट करने के लिए?
मैम सबसे बड़ा इशू एम्प्लॉयमेंट है यहाँ पे। एम्प्लॉयमेंट है मैम सबसे बड़ा
एम्प्लॉयमेंट इशू है। इसके अलावा कोई और इशू आप देखते हैं?
इसके अलावा डेवलपमेंट है थोड़ा बहुत, स्कूल्स में, स्कूल्स के लिए है इशू, और बाकी तो कुछ भी नहीं है। बाकी मिनिमम
5 साल में डेवलपमेंट हुआ है आपकी अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी मंडी में?
मैम पिछले 5 साल से थोड़ा कम हुआ है। इससे पहले जो डेवलपमेंट था वो काफ़ी था, पर उससे जब से ये अदर पार्टी आई है उससे थोड़ा कम हुआ है डेवलपमेंट।
कम हुआ है, ठीक है। पूरे 10 साल की बात करें तो आपको लग रहा है कि देश में एक्चुअली डेवलपमेंट हुआ है?
जी
हुआ है। ऐसे कौन से डेवलपमेंट के फैक्टर्स आपको अच्छे लगे?
Kanika, okay, I'm going to come back to you. Okay, somebody's going to quickly brief you as well, and I'm quickly hopping across to my colleague in Varanasi, Akshat, who's standing by. Akshat, let's just get a pulse from the ground. What are people around you saying?
Well, yes, Rishabh, you know, the electoral fervor is quite high in Varanasi as the people are all queued up since morning to cast their ballot. And of course, many people have talked about the development, of course, the issue on which they will be voting out. Sir, क्या कहना चाहेंगे? क्या कुछ दिमाग में रखेंगे वोट डालते वक्त?
क्या जैसे
जैसे क्या कुछ मुद्दे रहेंगे?
क्या मुद्दे बताएं?
सर, आप बताइए क्या कुछ मुद्दा रहेगा वोट डालते वक्त?
वोट देने के बाद बताएंगे मुद्दा, उससे पहले
ओके सर,
नाम काट दिया गया है लिस्ट में।
अच्छा सर, आप बताइए क्या कुछ मुद्दा रहेगा वोट देते वक्त?
महंगाई है, बेरोजगारी है, विकास है, ये सब चीज़ों को लेकर के वोट दिया जाएगा।
तो विकास को किस तरीके से देखते हैं काशी में?
नहीं, काशी में विकास तो हुआ है।
सर, आप बताइए, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
क्या क्या बताइए?
विकास को किस तरीके से देखते हैं काशी में?
विकास को तो भाई जैसे है तो चल रहा है।
विकास तो है लेकिन बेरोजगारी
बेरोजगारी
बहुत ज़्यादा है। सब लड़के पढ़ के बेकार जा रहे हैं।
1 लाख रुपया कमा के आदमी हमेशा कर्ज में रह रहा है। 1 लाख रुपया महीने का खर्च हो जा रहा है, इतनी महंगाई है।
जी, आप बताइए, आप युवा हैं, क्या फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर हैं?
फर्स्ट टाइम नहीं।
फर्स्ट टाइम नहीं है। अच्छा, तो क्या कुछ उम्मीद रखते हैं सरकार से, आने वाली सरकार से, कि किस तरीके से काम करें?
जैसे चल रहा है ठीक ही चल रहा है सर।
सर, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
नहीं भैया, धन्यवाद।
So of course, there, Rishabh, you heard out, some people are of course shy to talk about, and others, we got a contrasting view because some point out that,
Yes,
that there is a development which has taken place in Kashi. Of course, we know that Kashi Vishwanath corridor has been built and wide roads have been constructed in Kashi, but some also point out that unemployment and inflation are still some of the issues which can dominate the elections.
Okay, okay, Akshit, thank you. Let me just quickly update our viewers who are joining us on other developments that are taking place. There is an Indie Alliance meeting that is scheduled, I'm now told, around about 3 o'clock in Delhi. We know for sure that Tejasvi is coming for it. We know pretty confidently that Mamata Banerjee will not be coming for it today. But a gathering is taking place. The PM, meanwhile, who's been in Tamil Nadu, he is also going to be departing and heading to Delhi in about an hour or two. I think Kangana Ranaut, who is the candidate from Mandi, is speaking out. She's taking on Vikramaditya Singh of the Congress over there. Let's quickly listen into what she's saying.
मुझे खासकर बहुत सहानुभूति है। मैं पूरे देश से यही चाहूँगी और खासकर बुद्धिजीवियों से यही चाहूँगी कि पैलेस्टीन के इशू में जाने से अच्छा है या कहीं और जाने जहाँ आप कभी गए नहीं हैं, जहाँ की राजनीति आप समझते नहीं हैं, आपको सिर्फ सुनी सुनाई बातों से बहकाया जाता है। आप कश्मीरी पंडितों के लिए लड़ें, आप संदेश खाली की महिलाओं के लिए लड़ें, आप जो है कन्हैया लाल जैसे इंसान जिसको दिन दहाड़े जो है गर्दन काट दी जाती है, आप उसके लिए लड़ें। चूज़ योर बैटल्स, नहीं तो हमारा देश आगे बढ़ने तो बढ़ेगा, उसको इतनी पावर और एम्पावर करेंगे, आगे बढ़ने से ज़्यादा जो है वो भटक जाएगा। इसलिए चूज़ योर बैटल्स वाइजली। देखिए, सरकार भी तभी कोई काम कर सकती है अगर उसमें जनमत हो। तो जैसे आपने मुहिम चलाई है अलग अलग चीज़ों के लिए, कश्मीरी पंडितों के लिए मैं चाहूँगी बुद्धिजीवियों को कि उनके लिए मुहिम चलाएं। कहाँ पे? उनके शुरू में? यस, डेफिनेटली। मैंने बहुत बढ़ चढ़ कर जो है हमेशा कश्मीरी पंडितों के उसके लिए कहा हुआ है, एंड आई विल कंटिन्यू टू डू दैट।
मंडी का जो इशू है, यहाँ पर ओल्ड पेंशन स्कीम और अग्निवीर का एक बड़ा इशू है, खासकर से यंगस्टर्स को लेकर। तो आप इसके बारे में, क्योंकि कांग्रेस हमेशा कॉर्नर करती रही है बीजेपी को इन मुद्दों को लेकर, तो आपके क्या भाव हैं इस मुद्दे पर?
देखिए, हर जो एक देश होता है जिसकी इतनी आबादी है, जैसे पिछली टर्म में हमारे प्रधानमंत्री 120 करोड़ बोलते थे, अब 140 करोड़ बोलते हैं, तो नेचुरल सी बात है कि यहाँ पर आबादी जिस स्तर से बढ़ रही है, उस स्तर से जो है एक सरकार जिसके अभी सेकंड टर्म ही हुई है, उसके लिए रोजगार जुटाना जो है एक अपने आप में ही उनको कई इनोवेटिव तरीकों से आना पड़ेगा। अब मुझे 1 मिनट दीजिएगा, मैं आपको समझाऊंगी कि इजराइल जैसे जो देश हैं वहाँ पर आर्मी में जाना जो है वो कंपलसरी होता है। वो कोई करियर या कोई फ्यूचर या जॉब नहीं, आर्मी ट्रेनिंग होना, ताकि जो लोग, जैसे हमने देखा है कि पंजाब में जो है ड्रग्स हो गए या ड्रग्स माफिया हो गए, पूरी की पूरी गांव जो है वो विधवाओं के हैं, नस्लों को जो है खोखला कर दिया गया है। उस ध्यान से रखते हुए ये जो हेरोइन का ये बहुत बड़ा जो हमारे हिमाचल प्रदेश को टारगेट किया जा रहा है, इससे जो यूथ है बिल्कुल जो है वो ड्रग्स के अंदर जो है वो हो गया है। छोटे उम्र में यूथ को एक डायरेक्शन देना, उनको एक ट्रेनिंग मिलना, एक अगर आप कहें तो मैं इन दोनों को कंपेयर नहीं करूंगी। जैसे हमारे छोटे शहर की बेटियां जब कोई ब्यूटी कॉन्टेस्ट में जाती हैं, उनको स्टाइलिंग टीम जो है वो ग्रूम करती है, यहाँ आकर वो चाहे अपना कोई बुटीक खोले या कोई ब्यूटी पार्लर, उनके लिए एक व्यवसाय बनता है। उसी तरह से जब एक युवा
Okay, Kangana Ranaut, of course, speaking out this morning on a whole variety of subjects. Remember, she is hoping that her ticket of the Bharatiya Janata Party delivers her to Parliament and adds that one extra number, and the BJP sweeps in Himachal Pradesh. The Congress is going to be thinking otherwise because they've sent Vikramaditya Singh to take her on in that constituency, and they are hoping for an upset in Himachal after having done an upset in Himachal in forming the government there. Which of course has faced other issues recently. But how does that plan out? Let's have a larger picture conversation. Joining us on the broadcast, Arshpreet Khadial representing the Congress, Syed Asad Abbas is with us, and Professor Nalapat is with us as well. Professor Nalapat, let me pick on the larger issue with you first before I get in with the rest. So about this afternoon, when the elections are now sort of winding down, they're almost over. We are going to see the India Alliance members all gathering in Delhi. I'm sure it will be a lot of feedback of what they're getting from the ground. They'll have to figure out what's actually happening and what their assessment of the overall picture is. But do you think that the conversation on the hard issues of who's going to be their leader, who's going to be their voice is something they'll have today, or do you expect that to happen only post the 4th?
Well, Rishabh, the fact of the matter is that I don't see that there is going to be very much clarity about that for quite some time to come. And of course, as you correctly said, only by around the 4th of June or the 5th of June will the country know exactly what the people of this country have decided. One thing is very clear, and that is that this has been a democratic election. It's been a transparent election. Fortunately, except for some problems in Bengal and a few other places, it's by and large taken place on a peaceful basis. So I do hope that those who basically condemned Indian democracy as having been weakened or even destroyed, I hope they'll have a reconsideration of that, because as you correctly said, this is the largest democratic exercise in the world. Now, what the people decides, it's up to the people. It's up to the electors. It's up to the voters in every constituency. And it's also up to the candidates, what they believe about the candidates. And very importantly, it's up to the perception of the voter as to which group of these two competing alliances, which leader can take them forward in a better way for the next 5 years. And that, I think, is the most important question on their minds. There's, you can complain and complain and complain and complain, say these problems are there. But what is your solution? You can say that these issues are, these problems are there. This is a huge source of worry. But what is your solution? Eventually, what is needed are pathways to solutions. What is needed are solutions. And what is needed is a sign that you can work together smoothly to implement solutions rather than fight each other, perhaps, for power, authority, or the fishes and loaves of office. So I think that is the most important point, Rishabh. Who has a better path to a better 5 years for India?
Okay, Dr. Abbas, let me quickly get into you because the elections are over, and yes, even in Bengal, okay, where yes, we have seen incidents, but compared, I can tell you this because I was sitting on the same chair 5 years ago, compared to what was happening 5 years ago, it has been a whole lot better, okay. We've had some issues, of course, that have taken place where recounting has happened in Manipur, okay, or repolling has happened in Manipur. There have been some issues in Bengal. But pretty much the rest of the country, you've seen a peaceful election. Do you think the elections have now gone off fine? That now the elections have gone off fine, and we proved it that actually the electoral machinery in India is working just fine?
Absolutely, Rishabh Saab. I completely agree with you on that front. This is the world's largest democracy, and also keeping India in mind, there are bound to be isolated incidents. But largely, I would certainly say this has been a victory of democracy. As a matter of fact, India as a country has set a precedent for all the democracies of the world to follow. And of course, kudos to all the election teams, managers, the commission for bringing everybody together and making this a very grand success. Also, let me bring to your notice, sir, today is going to be quite exciting for me. 57 parliamentary constituencies, over 900 candidates. Not just that, we see a star like Ravi Kishan, to a Kangana Ranaut, of course, a Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, and several others. Of course, how can we forget Abhishek Banerjee of the West Bengal, where the Bharatiya Janata Party is trying its best might to get a figure which is quite startling, the Mamata Banerjee government there. But of course, nevertheless, like they say, ibtidai siyasat hai, rota hai kya, aage aage dekh hota hai kya.
Okay.
Yes,
let's
it was a very exciting meeting.
Let's ask that to Arshpreet. Arshpreet, in terms of now that the campaign is over, the elections are going to be over in a few hours, and then then we have to wait. There's nobody has any option. You have to wait a few days. But what has been substantively different from 5 years ago, given that the leadership of your party was roughly the same, similar? What have you done substantively different this time around that is giving you that we've got our ducks in a row better this time?
Definitely. See, in the previous election, we did have a lot of work to show. We did have a vision. We did not market it as much. This time, we have made sure that we market as well, that we ensure that we take our work out to the people. We tell them this is what we have done for you, the IITs, the IIMs, the RTI, the RTE. Everything that the Bharatiya Janata Party's government has been selling has been brought by the Congress Party, and the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing away with that. Now, the people are desperately waiting for the 4th of June to come so that they can see the Bharatiya Janata Party's autocratic, dictatorial government done away with. The double-engine train is going to crash very soon. The non-democratic alliance has already been breaking away. We have seen the JJP left them, the AIADMK left them, the Samta Party left them, the SAD left them, SAD Seyukt left them. Many leaders that were given candidates, that were given tickets, left the Bharatiya Janata Party because they knew it for a fact that it's a sinking ship. And the BJP's manifesto, the states which are going into polling today, the Bharatiya Janata Party hasn't done much for these states. The interim budget that had come, it was empty, it was hollow for these states. Their manifesto is hollow for these states, and the sack of seats for these states would also be hollow for the Bharatiya Janata Party. My only request to the Bharatiya Janata Party is that we understand that you don't have work to show. Therefore, you prefer to indirectly campaign the last period, which is called the silence period, through meditation. I mean, my only concern is that if you really wanted to meditate, you could have done it before the polling, you could have done it after the polling. You specifically choose the voting day, and this happened the previous.
All right, Ashwin, let me ask you then specifically about Punjab, because it's directly important to you as well. It is a sort of strange irony that we've just been pretty much told that Priyanka Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, they've all voted for the Aam Aadmi Party. So is the Aam Aadmi Party performing well?
Thank you. As far as performing well, where?
The Aam Aadmi Party has governments in 2 states. One is in Punjab and one is in Delhi. In Delhi, they're accused of corruption. So in Punjab, have they performed well?
Right. As far as Punjab is concerned, we do not have an alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party there because the BJP's existence is negligible there. The Nafrat ki dukan's shutter has always been down, will always be down in the future as well. And the Bharatiya Janata Party's candidates, for example, Hansraj Hans, Taranjeet Sandhu, Arvind, Mr. Dinesh, Ms. Praneeth Kaur, and Mr. Ravneet Bittu, and many others have been restrained from entering villages in Punjab. And there are posters that are being put up by the farmers that initially you let us not go to our capital. You didn't let us go to Delhi for our basic demands. We won't let you enter our villages. Many videos have been circulating. And second of all, you would have noticed that Mr. Modi, when he came to Patiala for a rally, it was his first constituency when he came to Punjab for a rally. So there was 5,500 security personnel deployed.
Yeah, but what's this got to do with the performance of the Aam Aadmi Party, which was my question?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it has to do. Because the BJP government, has been facing backlash in Punjab. And the Aam Aadmi Party government has not been able to, in Punjab, deliver as much as they should have. and the Congress party will be sweeping in Punjab as per.
But if you're sweeping, you're defeating the Aam Aadmi Party, not the BJP. So has the Aam Aadmi Party performed well in Punjab?
So that's what I'm telling you. The Bharatiya Janata Party is one, not in the race. Second, as far as the opinion polls and the surveys are concerned, Mood of the Nation, News 18, ABP, all of them, they suggest majority of the seats are being won by Congress in Punjab, where we do not have an alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party. As far as Delhi is concerned, we are sweeping all seats, that's for sure.
Okay.
My only request to the Bharatiya Janata Party is that why do we see a pattern? Why do we see it time and again that you undermine the Election Commission of India, the guidelines, the model code of conduct? See, the only concern is in 2019, on the same day of voting, you decide to meditate so that you can indirectly influence the voters. Why do you not have work to show to influence the voters? And if you really want to meditate, which is for internal
But you've just said the voters are not being influenced because you are sweeping.
Sorry?
You just said you're sweeping, so the voters are clearly not being influenced by any of this.
Number one, of course, we are sweeping, that's for sure. But does that mean that anyone can violate the model code of conduct? There are guidelines for a reason, the law is there for a reason, and if the ECI wouldn't act upon it, our delegation met the ECI because it is a clear-cut violation. And the only concern is that if you really want to meditate for your inner self, do it off camera. Why do you have to call media? Do it in front of the media.
Is Rahul Gandhi currently on a meditative episode as well?
Well, the thing is that the Congress Party's leaders, they do prefer yoga, they do meditate, but they do it off camera. They don't do it on camera.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let me get Shaina NC of the Bharatiya Janata Party into this conversation. Shaina ji, now I'll discuss Punjab for a second before I come to Himachal, because you're seeing live shots from Hamirpur on your screens. In Punjab, okay, it has been, there are very few places in north of India, okay, where you can say that the BJP has not been able to leave an increasing imprint. One would still be the Kashmir Valley and the other is Punjab. What is the issue? What is that despite all the efforts, the Bharatiya Janata Party is not the primary force, secondary force in Punjab, and the whatever vacuum there was filled by the Aam Aadmi Party, which is a recently formed party?
So I beg to differ with you, Rishabh. 4th of June is not far off. Not just the Bharatiya Janata Party doing well in Punjab, but also the people of Punjab having realized that one party only propagates drugs and unemployment, and the other has really done nothing for the state to even talk about. So please be very clear that in this 21st century of politics of performance, the youth of Punjab want nothing but development and employment, and for that they will side with the Bharatiya Janata Party. Not only will our vote share go up, we will have a significant stake here. You talked about Jammu Kashmir. Let me please tell you, post abrogation of 370, you have seen the kind of peace and prosperity in Jammu Kashmir, and given that the Prime Minister has always endorsed that we are here only to talk about development and nothing else. Your panelist prior to this was talking very, very big things about meditation and yoga and all of that. Please understand that after finishing 2 months of elections, if our Honorable Prime Minister chooses to meditate, it is nothing that we need to be apologetic of. And this Congress party makes a hue and cry if the Prime Minister meditates, makes a hue and cry if the Prime Minister talks. This is not the first time he has gone. 2019, he went to Kedarnath. 2014, he went to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's Pratapgarh. And here itself, Kanyakumari is symbolic because of Swami Vivekanand, and in the days to come, we want the Honorable Prime Minister to gain inspiration and have this work that he has done tirelessly for 10 years without a single holiday. Unlike the Congress party, which just disappears and has its leaders cycling in the south of France, you have a Prime Minister here who is only making Bharat and the people of Bharat that much stronger.
All right, just stay with me, ma'am. Just stay with me for a second. Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu, who's the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, speaking out. Let's quickly listen in.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने किया, उस आधार पर ये चुनाव जनता लड़ रही है। ये चुनाव कोई सरकार बचाने के लिए नहीं है, सरकार बनाने के लिए भी नहीं है। हमारी सरकार अगले 3.5 साल पूरी चलेगी, लेकिन ये चुनाव जो है ये आम चुनाव ना होकर हिमाचल की जनता के लिए विशेष चुनाव है। वो विशेष चुनाव के भविष्य में जहां देवी देवता हमारी संस्कृति के प्रमुख अंग हैं, भविष्य की राजनीति को अगर साफ सुथरा रखना है तो मेरी हिमाचल की जनता से ये अनुरोध है कि ये चुनाव जनता का चुनाव है, जनता को जीतना होगा और इस चुनाव में जनता जीतेगी और धनबल हारेगा, जनबल की जीत होगी, धनबल की हार होगी।
सर, अग्नि परीक्षा ये भी है क्योंकि 6 बाईपोल्स हैं, 4 जो सीट्स हैं उनके ऊपर तो लोकसभा के लिए है, लेकिन 6 बाईपोल्स हैं और ये बीजेपी का लगातार दावा रहा है कि हिमाचल की सरकार हम 5 साल पूरा चलने नहीं देंगे, यानी इस चुनाव के साथ साथ आपकी सरकार को भी हिला देंगे।
यही तो अच्छा हुआ क्योंकि 10 के 10 चुनाव जब जनता लड़ रही है, अब 4 जून को 10 के 10 जब चुनाव का परिणाम आएगा, जब जनता लड़ती है ना चुनाव, तो निश्चित तौर पर 4 जून को जो ये कहते हैं अहंकार से भरकर, उसका परिणाम जनता सिखाएगी। इसलिए मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ हमारी सरकार बिल्कुल निश्चित तौर पर है। 1 महीना
Okay, you've been hearing to Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu over there. He, of course, is speaking about his government in Himachal as well. Remember, there has been cross-voting that has taken place in the Rajya Sabha elections, leading to the shock defeat, or rather a shock tie for the Congress candidate for the Rajya Sabha over there. And subsequently, there are 6 bypolls that are being held today simultaneously. And those 6 bypoll results will also spell the fate of the government in Himachal Pradesh. But let me then come back to the conversation we were having, and let me get Mr. Abbas into this conversation. Mr. Abbas, all politics internally within parties is inconsistent. Sometimes your own party colleagues want you to lose the election. Certainly in alliances, it is inconsistent. I don't think Nitish Kumar even remembers who he is allied with on a monthly basis. Chandrababu Naidu had very nasty things to say about the Bharatiya Janata Party not too long ago, and now he's, of course, standing shoulder to shoulder to them. So I understand this. But how do we reach a position where we know Mamata Banerjee has gone all the way to Gujarat to find a Yusuf Pathan to come and eliminate the Congress from Bengal, reduce them to 0. In Delhi, Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi are telling us we have voted Aam Aadmi Party. But they're competing against each other in Punjab, and you can judge when I've asked about the performance of the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab whether an answer has been received or not. So how is this inconsistency actually going to be justified?
Well, I would certainly say, of course, the India alliance coming together, they're very clear about it. They want to defeat the BJP. They want to defeat Pradhan Mantri Modi ji. The fact of the matter, we need to understand, these are the best goods, equipments available at the hands of the India alliance. Also, bringing to the fact that Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi, I am sure, would never vote for an Aam Aadmi Party candidate. They had to do so because the constituency that they voted happened to be a candidate of the India Alliance, and so Aam Aadmi Party. And yes, Rishabh Saab, you're right. Nitish Kumar is one such wholly pragmatic leader who could be with the alliance in the breakfast and differ with the alliance during lunch. The fact is, he is known as Paltu Ram for a reason. Also, Mamata Banerjee getting Yusuf Pathan all the way, undoubtedly. In spirit, I do certainly see the India Alliance coming together. But when it comes to Punjab, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress at the loggerheads. When it comes to West Bengal, there is no seat sharing whatsoever between Trinamool Congress and the Congress Party. Why so? Because if the India Alliance tomorrow wants to come into power, every leader of the India Alliance wants to negotiate with a much higher power percentage.
Yeah,
that is a fact.
But are they then thinking of the country, or are they thinking about what portfolios they are going to get potentially? Okay, let me get Professor Nalapat before I get the politicians back in. Professor Nalapat, in a larger scheme of things, the principal issue for the Congress party, which has led to the historical situation that for the first time in the history of the Congress party, a member of the Gandhi family has had to vote for a non-Congress candidate. It's never happened before. Okay? But the problems has been that Sharad Pawar left the Congress and set up an NCP, okay? That the Congress became a junior partner in Tamil Nadu. That Mamata Banerjee displaced the Congress after leaving it in Bengal. That it is Akhilesh who's the senior partner in UP. It is Arvind Kejriwal, who's founded a party 10 years ago, who's the senior partner in Delhi and an opponent in Punjab, after having damaged Arvind Kejriwal, has done damage to the Congress party in Goa, in Gujarat. So in this complex situation, has the Congress party this time around done the best ever in terms of getting a deal? Last time they had nothing. Or is it a dangerous slippery slope?
Look, Rishabh, that question is going to be answered on the 4th of June. the reality of the situation is that the Congress party is certainly not what it was even 10 years ago or 20 years ago when it came to power. Somewhat surprisingly for Mr. Vajpayee, it is the Congress party and the parties aligned to it that came to power. It is definitely not what it was. And I think the Congress leadership has understood that and has been quite realistic in accepting that. Now, the point of the matter is very simple. You know, I am a little unhappy that that the INDI alliance is putting a lot of emphasis on issues like caste and region and things like that, north versus south, backward versus forward. I don't even know what these things mean, and I think that is unfortunate because the issues of India need to be dealt with as an entirety. Like the people of India need to be dealt with as an entirety. All of us are Indians together. We need, if you want to understand the problems of our country, we have to understand the problems as an entirety and not sliced into different segments. So I'm a little unhappy at some of the, some of, if I may say so, efforts to kind of, divide the electorate on various grounds. I think it's unfortunate, and I think, frankly, it detracts from the whole point of view, which is that it is development that counts.
Okay.
In my view, Rishabh, people all over the country, especially the youth, understand the value of that. You've seen that in Kashmir. Many of my friends have gone to Kashmir now. They have come back delighted by the peaceful atmosphere that is there. And you have the young people of Kashmir, they were there during the Troubles. They were there when stone pelting, violence and killings were an everyday occurrence. And they're there now when tourism is once again flourishing in Kashmir and the valley is undergoing a huge economic reincarnation.
Okay.
Why? Because the fundamental truth is the people want development. And for development to come, we have to have a united stance on issues. You cannot divide issues on the basis of community, caste, region. You have to consider issues as an entirety, and I think that is what the...
All right. Okay, I've asked you on Congress. I want to ask you on the BJP, forget the politicians back in. You're seeing, of course, the irony of on your screens of several former Congress persons casting their votes. I just saw J.V. Shergill cast his vote. I just saw R.P.N. Singh cast his vote. You can make a prediction that who they're casting their vote for. It's not the Congress this time. But I've asked you about the Congress, so let me ask you about Narendra Modi's BJP. When the leadership is principally the same from what it was in the last election, what is substantively the change in conversation or the change in issue or the change in thought process for this election for the BJP?
Look, Rishabh, the BJP today is a party of nearly 100 million people who have signed on to it. And 100 million is a large number. Now, what the INDI alliance is doing is any problem, any mistake, any wrong, and let's face 100 million people, you can have many among them who may do something wrong. Everything is tagged at the door of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's as though the Prime Minister is personally supervising the activities of the 100 million cadre of his party, which frankly defeats common sense. So all the issues, all the problems are being laid at the door of the Prime Minister. At the same time, what are we seeing? We are seeing the reality of India now standing in the world as a tall nation. We are seeing the reality of the entire culture of India being given its due respect. We are seeing economic development. Today in the morning, you read in the newspapers, it has crossed 8.4%. We need double-digit growth for the sake of the youth of the country. We are getting there. And we are seeing all that happen. So I just want to say there's an alternate reality in which everything is laid. Anything that is going wrong or anything that is presumed to be going wrong, it's laid at the door of one person. And there is a reality that the country is really making significant progress.
Okay, so the problem for the Congress in Andhra Pradesh was not the BJP. It was the son of a former congressman. The problem for the Congress in Bengal was not the BJP. It was a former congressperson who left and then defeated the left and formed a government. The problem for the Congress even in UP for decades was not the Bharatiya Janata Party, was others. So let me put this question to Mr. Khadial. Mr. Khadial, there is a serious risk of the other parties damaging you. So why have you chosen to still work with them?
Well, number one, if it would be damage or if it would be support, that's for the time to decide. Until now, it has been support for us and nothing else. But for the Bharatiya Janata Party, like I said, there is no democracy there. There's a reason as to why they call it the non-democratic alliance, because they don't consult, they don't meet with them. There is no discussion or deliberation that happens. Decisions are imposed. They are shoved down the throat of their allies, and that is how they operate. We happen to be a democratic alliance, and we decide collectively and we work collectively. Second of all, Chandigarh is also going into polling today. And you remember what happened in Chandigarh Mayor poll, where the Honorable Supreme Court, the guardian of the Constitution, had to say democracy's murder happened. It was a mockery of democracy. And then the Supreme Court had to intervene. And the Bharatiya Janata Party did get a befitting reply there. Number two, there was, the gentleman talked of Kashmir and how there's been development allegedly. If there really would have been development caused by the Bharatiya Janata Party, they would have fielded a candidate in Kashmir. They did not. Second of all, there would have been more visits of their leaders. Mr. Modi allegedly visited
Why did the
Kashmir.
Congress not field a candidate in Kashmir?
The thing is, one second please, if I may complete. The fact of the matter is that in at least a democracy, the questions are posed to the government. And if the government would actually try and answer one question, the people would actually be able to relate with it, because the BJP, they only ask questions, don't answer questions despite being in the government. So our question is, one, why no candidate? Why only one visit by Mr. Modi in the last 5 years? Why no statehood has been restored? Why no assembly election has been done? Why no employment opportunities have been given? One last point, please. How scared the Bharatiya Janata Party is of the India alliance was clearly seen when Mr. Hemant Soren was targeted. One chief minister down. Mr. Kejriwal was targeted, second chief minister down, Mr. Revanth Reddy was targeted, third chief minister, and the principal opposition's accounts were frozen. And then we had to go to the Supreme Court.
Arshpreet, do you remember what happened to Jagan Reddy? Do you know what happened to Jagan Reddy under the UPA government?
We do know.
Do you remember how many cases, ED, CBI, his jail? That was the UPA. You remember this, right?
And you would also
remember... You remember Mulayam Singh Yadav, you remember Lalu Yadav, all UPA.
And you would also remember Brij Bhushan, Kuldeep Sengar, Chenmayanand, Sandeep Singh, Vijay Mallya, Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi, whose loans have also been waived off. And all these leaders, let's talk of Mr. Brij Bhushan's son. He has been given a ticket, despite there being sexual harassment charges that have been leveled against Mr. Brij Bhushan. Second of all, Mr. Mishra.
Kani Mori, A. Raja, all back in parliament. Okay.
So
what happened? These were all people prosecuted under the UPA. So it did happen. Jagan Mohan Reddy was very upset with you. He called it a political vendetta, that you punished him for aspiring to his father's position.
Well, the fact of the matter is, if anyone's been punished, it's been Mr. Shivraj Chauhan, it's been Ms. Vasundhara Raje, it's been Mohanlal Khattar, and it'll be very soon be Mr. Yogi Adityanath as well. And these leaders that I've talked about, they do not want the Bharatiya Janata Party to win. In fact, you were talking of former Congress leaders that have now gone into BJP, and you very confidently said they'll be voting for the BJP. No, they have realized that there is no air for democracy in the Bharatiya Janata Party, in the non-democratic alliance, so they might as well be voting against the BJP and for Congress Party.
Okay, you're expecting all these people to be voting. I'm sure you're in touch with them. But let me give Shaina NC a chance to respond to that. Shaina NC, respond to that most immediate point, that the Congress persons who joined the BJP, I've named them, Jaiveer Shergill, who was just voted, and RPN Singh, former Union Minister of the Congress Party, who left, Jitin Prasada, former Union Minister of the Congress Party, of course, contesting currently from Pilibhit. All of these people, do you think they're voting against themselves? I mean, I'm sure certain candidates are voting for the Congress despite them being the candidate. I'm sure that's all that's going on. Is it, Shaina NC?
Rishabh, first understand that the Bharatiya Janata Party today has 11 crore active members as cadre. We are the world's largest party. The most popular Prime Minister is that Prime Minister Modi, and this is testimony because you have had so many of these leaders that you mentioned from other parties, other thought processes, other ideologies, so inspired by the progressive work done by the Bharatiya Janata Party that they have chosen to join on their own accord. Having said that, this is a referendum, a mandate of the people of India for good governance, and that's why you see no anti-incumbency, you see pro-incumbency. Our Prime Minister is a man on a mission who works not just for headlines like the Congress party, as they have just, you see, there's only statement after statement, but he works for deadlines. The Congress has no vision plan. They talk about a Nyay Patra, it's nothing but Anyay. They talk about women's dignity. Their leaders have only dismissed everything which is positively pro-women, whether it was a triple talaq, a Nari Shakti Vandan, or the progressive steps the Prime Minister has taken. You talk about development. This is the first time in the history of India that you have close to 150 airports. You have the fastest laying of railway tracks. Post-independence, you have not seen this kind of speed.
Okay.
You have maximum aims. You have 680 medical colleges. All of this is work done on ground. I want to ask you two questions. One is, every time you say that the voter is coming out and you don't know who they're voting for, I want to say just the opposite. Every voter who's coming out is only reposing faith in Prime Minister Modi, because they have seen the 60 crore Labhartis that have benefited on ground. They have seen an Ayushman Bharat, they have seen an Ujjwala, they have seen the kind of fast work that is happening, whether it comes to financial inclusion or mudra banking or loans that are being given to women.
Okay, I have another question, ma'am. I'm just going to come back to you. Let's quickly listen into Vikramaditya speaking out this morning. He just cast his vote. Of course, he is hoping to defeat Kangana Ranaut. Let's listen in.
हमने ये जो चुनाव लड़ा है, ये मुद्दों के ऊपर लड़ा है. उन्होंने जो चुनाव लड़ा है, वो नकारात्मक सोच के ऊपर जो है पर्सनल अटैक्स करने पे लड़ा है. ना उनका कोई विजन है, ना उनकी कोई सोच है, ना उनकी कोई राजनीतिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, ना कोई इतिहास की अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, ना हिमाचल के मुद्दों के बारे में उन व्यक्ति को ज़्यादा जानकारी है. अब समय आ गया है, अपनी पैकिंग करना तैयार करें. 4 तारीख को यहाँ से बम्बई का टिकट कटना तय है.
जो 400 पार का जो नारा है बीजेपी का, नेशनल पर्सपेक्टिव में व्हाट डू यू सी, इंडिया अलायंस गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म करेगी क्या?
दक्षिण भारत में साफ और उत्तर में हाफ. तो उससे अंदाज़ा लगाया जा सकता है कि भाजपा कहाँ पर है. समय बदलाव का है और बदलाव में हिमाचल प्रदेश भी उससे अभिज्ञ नहीं है. प्रदेश में भी बदलाव होगा और प्रदेश में भी 4 सीटें कांग्रेस पार्टी जीतेगी.
और असेंबली सेगमेंट भी हैं 6,
उसमें भी कांग्रेस पार्टी का अच्छा प्रदर्शन रहेगा. जिस तरीके से एक प्रचलन प्रदेश के अंदर नया ट्रेंड शुरू करने की कोशिश करी जा रही थी, एक चुनी हुई सरकार को अस्थिर करने का प्रयास किया जा रहा था, जनता उसका कड़ा जवाब जो है वो आज देगी और उसके परिणाम 4 तारीख को पूरे प्रदेश को पता चल जाएंगे.
Okay, very interesting. Watch out for Vikramaditya Singh in national politics coming up, okay? And he might just do well in Himachal for all we know. Shah Nancy, okay, so my question is, there is no such thing as perfection. There are issues. And you've had to replace a lot of your members of parliament. Many new faces have been brought in. The stinging criticism always remains that in all the entire country, the BJP for some reason can't find a single Muslim candidate to win on its ticket. There are issues. How do you intend to tackle these problems?
You know, Rishabh, I don't think we should make non-issues issues. The issue is that the people of India have reposed faith in the good work done by Prime Minister Modi. And this is every segment, whether it's women, whether it's youth, whether it's the poor, or whether it's the farmer. These are the only 4 vote banks left. You ask about vote bank politics, Tushtikaran ki Rajniti. We are not here to appease Muslims or Dalits or any community. When the Prime Minister says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vishwas, it means taking everyone along. And with that philosophy, may the best candidate win. And the Prime Minister has also given opportunity to so many tribals, so many Dalits, so many OBCs. So I don't think we highlight what we should be highlighting. Ours is the only party that gives so many women an opportunity, even organizationally or electorally. What is Nari Shakti Vandan? So please view an election in totality and don't cherry pick on either comments or a single viewpoint. A country as large as India, where you have 140 crore Indians, of which 60 crore Labhartis have benefited, touching 80 crore people. I'm talking about whether it's a 5 lakh which is given during Ayushman Bharat, or 11 crores for Ujjwala, or 13 crore homes which have got toilets and shauchalayas. The list
Okay,
is
all right. Okay,
endless.
Syed Abbas wants to make a quick interjection, then I have one last round of question for our guest. Syed Abbas, go ahead.
There's a very interesting pattern that I see, Rishabh Saab, amongst the many voters. When they say they're voting for a Viksit Bharat, of course, we know they're voting for a Modi ji. But when they say they're voting for against Berozgari, Mehngai, price rise, inflation, we know the vote is swinging against the Modi's government. The fact we need to understand, Shaina ji mentioned about, the women empowerment of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Respected ma'am, it is your party which has given tickets to those who have serious criminal cases against women. Not just that, what moral high ground would it be, ma'am, when you give the ticket to Kaisarganj to his own son, someone who's been charge sheeted, Brijbhushan Sharan Singh. बेटी बढ़ाओ बेटी बचाओ की बात करते हैं, and what happened to all the Indian women pride wrestlers? Nothing. The fact we need to understand that the International Labour Organization has given a report, 83% of India's youth is unemployed.
Okay.
That is something to reckon on. Also, as a matter of fact, last point, Rishabh Saab, we need to understand that, ma'am, you spoke of appeasement. Do you know that in my state of Karnataka, over the last several years, only a Lingayat is made chief minister by the BJP? Isn't that appeasement based on caste? So I think it's time for self-reflection.
Okay, all right, fair enough. If anybody out there is unemployed, looking for a job, interested in media, we are hiring. Okay, there are a few jobs certainly that can be filled. I can't promise 30 lakh or 30 crore, whatever it is, but there are a few jobs available. Okay, Professor Nalapat, on a substantive issue and probably a core issue that we've seen 10 years, and yes, some schemes will be more successful than others. Some are near saturation, some are not. Some are half done, some are more than half done. But in about 10 years now, we've not seen anecdotally allegations, reports, studies that seem to be suggesting that discrimination on the basis of identity, religion has happened in the rollout of these schemes. Has a Narendra Modi lived up to Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, or was it just a slogan?
Rishabh, I don't believe any of the programs that you mentioned. And for example, there's a program providing low-cost housing to middle-class people, up to, I think, 49 lakh rupees of value. And a large number of such housing colonies are coming up, and a large number of people are now getting access to housing. None of this is bounded by any consideration of religion or caste or region or whatever. None of that. That is the fact on the ground. There's no question about it. On the other hand, you have this constant drumbeat. And the drumbeat, as I said, anytime somebody, I mean, according to Ms. Shaina, it's 11 crores. It's certainly about 10 crores. But anytime somebody among these 10 crores makes an absurd statement, then that is immediately attributed to Prime Minister Modi. That Prime Minister Modi got him or her to make that statement. So this is really the way, frankly, you're demonizing the Prime Minister of the country. And the point is the institution of the Prime Minister should be above this kind of demonization for a simple reason that the Prime Minister represents India. And across the world, I can tell you, Rishabh, whether it's anecdotal, whether it is, I'm sure, my friend Syed would have experienced it. Whenever you go abroad today, there is a recognition of what India is now. There's a respect given to India. There's a respect given to citizens of India, irrespective of what community they belong to. Now, I know, for example, there are locations, many locations, where people who come from Pakistan and Bangladesh say, oh, we are actually Indians. I've seen Bangladeshi restaurants in some European countries, and it's actually owned by a Bangladeshi. Oh, it's owned by, I'm Indian. It's owned by Pakistanis. Oh, we're Indian. We're not Pakistanis. They come from Rawalpindi, but they're not Pakistanis.
Yes, this is the truth.
This is the change that has happened. And my point is, Rishabh, the voter will decide whether he or she understands that change, or whether he or she will believe this huge outpouring of very loud and critical noise that's being given, a noise which, in my view, does not bear any reflection.
So there are problems. Let's not kid ourselves. There are issues, many challenges. But Arshpreet Khatyal, not one allegation from you, your party leaders, any other opposition party leaders, general public, anyone of any discrimination on religious grounds in any government scheme for 10 years. Not one major land agitation despite all the massive highways that are being built. Surely we give some credit to good work done as well?
Of course, the Bharatiya Janata Party could not do a caste census in the last 10 years. Of course, the Bharatiya Janata Party promised to double farmers' income by 2022, but ended up doubling their suicide rate. And there's a famous dialogue of BJP's leader. You must have heard of it, Rishabh, कि हम तो फकीर आदमी हैं, झोला लेके चल पड़ेंगे. My advice to the Bharatiya Janata Party is झोला तैयार कर लो, लेके चलना पड़ेगा बहुत जल्दी.
Okay.
दूसरी बात ये है कि सबका साथ सबका विकास is their नारा, but it is actually what it has been in the last 10 years is कि corporate घरानों का साथ और खुद का विकास is what the BJP has been doing. Number 3 is the BJP spokesperson said, Mr. Modi is a man on a mission. Well, the only mission of Mr. Modi has been to campaign. That's why he has been more of a prime campaigner than a prime minister. And as far as the merit is concerned, their Jumla Patar does not consist of anything that talks of Manipur. Ladakh, it is silent about. Manipur, it is silent about. MSP, debt waiver, Nari Nyaya, inflation.
All right,
health,
fair enough.
Pharma,
Not one single allegation of discrimination in millions of touch points of government schemes. But that, of course, is not an issue. Everything else is. But there are other issues. So let me try to get then Syed Abbas on this conversation. Syed Abbas, we've seen a lot of things enter into this conversation. This Bernie Sanders 1% argument has become the locus mainstay of the Congress party. There is one person sitting in Chicago who the Congress has now disowned because there were other locus mainstay suggestions he was making. So this 1% argument didn't work for Bernie Sanders there. Even his own party rejected it. Why does the Congress think it works here?
The fact is, of course, Sam Pitroda's outgoing was a needed boost for the Congress party because the kind of statements he was making was absolutely uncalled for and would certainly damage the prospects of not just Congress but the India alliance too. Also, as a matter of fact, Rishabh Sahab, I was listening to Shainaji, the fact is we need to speak about one thing. Largely, voters are speaking of unemployment and berozgari.
Okay.
The Bharatiya Janata Party promised of 2 crore jobs every year. According to that, last 10 years, 20 crore jobs. Where is the empirical evidence formula? How do they justify their jumlas that they provided 20 crore jobs?
Okay. So let me take. My time is limited. So let me convert that into a question. Okay, because we've had this conversation with everybody from Jairam Ramesh to PM Modi on exactly the same issue. Okay, I personally had it. So Shaina NC, when it comes to jobs for a person at home who has, paid the tuition bills and the school fees and the college fees and the exam fees and the form fees, and then somebody can't find employment because of lack of upskilling, because of educational quality, or because the jobs are not available, it is an issue. What do we do about it?
So I think that the answer is very clear. There is the organized sector, there is the unorganized sector. Never before, Rishabh, have you had so many people who are self-employed on their own accord as entrepreneurs, whether it's small-scale industries, medium-scale industries, or even self-employed as in self-generated. This is aspirational India. As we use technology, yes, there are going to be certain shortfalls, but there's going to be a huge advantage in the days to come too. Please do understand that our Prime Minister is on the ball and he walks the talk. It is not just about employment, it is about the larger good of people not getting freebies, subsidies, SOPs, but getting education, security and financial empowerment. And that financial empowerment can be in the form of somebody who is self-employed, somebody who comes up with a novel concept, and that's why India is where it is. I completely agree with Professor Nalapat. Look at the pride we have as Indians today when we go abroad or when we are in any part of the world where India, and this is courtesy Prime Minister Modi. Look at where he has put us and placed us. So in the days to come, if an economy from number 11 to number 5 is on its way to number 3, obviously it is going to be a holistic systemic change which is going to ensure that people get their best, the per capita income goes up and employment is also increased.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot provide jobs for an unprecedented number of people in the history of humanity. In India, we talk about the history of humanity. There have never been more votes cast in an election in the history of humanity. There have never been more young people in one place at one time in the history of humanity. So, Professor Nalapat, I'll leave the last word before I take a quick break with you. Of course, we can't generate the jobs at the scale we need them unless we have 10% GDP growth. So, the blunt question is, if on June 4th, Narendra Modi gets an opportunity to enter a third term, has he created the base to deliver 10% double-digit GDP growth and put us in a mode that we've seen China in for a lot of decades?
Let me go back to P.V. Narasimha Rao, who introduced reforms. And what happened? Important people in the Congress party opposed those reforms. The reforms that were essential for progress and which doubled and tripled the Indian rate of growth, all the leaders opposed it. Today, the Congress party is talking about the reforms introduced by Narasimha Rao without mentioning his name. I know what happened to Mr. Narasimha Rao. Even after he passed away, he was, he was not allowed entry into.
Yeah, his remains were not allowed entry into the Congress headquarters. Yes.
May I say very, very clearly, Rishabh, this is a work in progress. It's a country of 1.4 billion people. Now we have got 8.5% rate of growth. We need 10, 11%. We are getting there. And it will take 3-4 more years before we get there. And so that is where this election is very important. Are we going to suddenly reverse policies that has got us from 2 to 8.5? Or are we going to continue on policies that ensure that from 8.5 we go to 11.5 and 12%? That is a fundamental question facing the voter, and the voter will decide, and the decision will be made known on the 4th of June.
Yeah, it's done. It's done now. As we speak, the last few votes are being mopped up. So it's done. These conversations have been had. 6 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, we begin our telecast. By 6:30, I think the Election Commission will allow us to put out the exit poll numbers. You'll have them right here. We've already got them, barring the few constituencies that are voting today. To give you an indication, it's just an indication, because I'm not going to come out and suggest that exit polls are going to predict the elections. If we could predict the elections, then of course, we would be contesting to become Prime Minister.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.